Get ready. Helena Hustle is now live. Here, we will showcase successful leaders in business, athletics, healthcare, and all things that make Helena a great place to live. Join Dr. Daniel Bridge, owner of Endurance Chiropractic, as he searches out amazing individuals who are making a tremendous difference in this place we call home. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired with the Helena Hustle podcast.
Amanda, thank you so much for joining Helena Hustle. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Amanda has her own podcast as well. What's the name of your podcast?
So it's AM Chamber Chats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were chatting about podcasts, and I thought, hey, I got to have you on the podcast. So, what we like to do to get this kicked off is start off with 2 truths and a lie, just so people can get to know you a little bit better. So let's start there.
Okay. And I just say them. I don't say which one's the lie or the truth.
Correct.
Right?
And I got to guess.
Okay.
See how good I am.
Okay. I'm a great swimmer. I've free fallen from a 16-story building, and I graduated Dean's List.
I'm going to say, I know we've talked sports. I'm going to say you're not a great swimmer. Is that the lie?
That is the lie, yeah. I'm a horrible swimmer.
Are you?
I'm good at a lot
You're
of other
athletic.
things. Yeah.
Softball. What else?
Softball. I did cheerleading.
Uh-huh.
I did track cross country, things like that, a little bit of basketball. But mainly I was softball. I was an MVP varsity player. So
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But swimming was never my forte at all.
What position did you play softball?
I started off as catcher, and then I moved to left field.
Okay. MVP. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then cheer's huge in Texas, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
you're from where?
Hereford, Texas, which is
Texas.
like northern Texas by
Gotcha.
Amarillo.
Okay. Great. So I had to have guessed the 16 stories was too specific, but how does one survive a free fall? Tell me about that.
So I traveled a lot out of college, and I was living in Brownfield, Texas, I think it was. And I heard about this amusement park that they had in Dallas, and it was called Zero Gravity Amusement Park. And what they did there is they have these 5 adventure rides. And so one of them, it was just a free fall. They take you up to this like 130 foot, just whatever drop. And there's a net at the bottom. And that's really all. It's just a net at the bottom.
So this isn't a ride.
No, it's like they just take you up there, and then they harness you while you're up there, and then you just turn backwards, and they undo your harness, and you just fall backwards.
And what if you land on your head?
That would suck.
Like, is the net built to cushion?
It's built to cushion, so it's just a net with one of those like inflatable things underneath it. So, I mean, if something were to go terribly wrong, obviously that could happen. But they did that. They had that there, and then they had like a bungee thing as well that I did, and it was.
But you're like, bungee, too safe.
Yeah, I did the bungee, but then you do the free fall, and
How
it's
was
like it was intense because you're just falling, and like it goes by really fast, but there's like if that net caves, or if, that balloon down there pops below you or something.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like fun.
But it kind of hurt because like you hit at like full speed, but it was pretty cool. Which is probably why I have back problems too.
Yeah, right. So have you always been like an adrenaline junkie?
I do like it. I like it a lot. Like I'm that person that loves like carnival rides and fair rides because you just don't know if they're gonna break.
That's the best part. Huh?
Yeah. But anything to do with water, I'm not so much though.
Hence the swimming.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what about like water slides?
I like water slides. I just don't like any water I can't stand up in, which is crazy because I try to push myself. Like I've done wakeboarding, I've done kneeboarding. I try to do all those things still, but
cool. Out
of just like telling myself to do it because I don't want to drown. That's my thing. I'm scared of drowning.
Okay. And then Dean's List. When was that?
Yeah, 2014, West Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
What was your major?
Mass communication, advertising, and public relations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And what brought you to Helena?
So after, you want the long story or the short story?
I want the long story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be a quick long story. So after college, I had graduated in December, and then so I just wanted to get out of my hometown. It's a very small hometown. It's like literally says the beef capital of the world. Like my dad's a rancher there. My brother's a cowboy. They're both cowboys. And so I just wanted to get out of my hometown.
Can I give a quick side note?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you know what my email address is?
What is it?
Beefmaster.
Is it really?
Yeah, Beefmaster05. And Parker found out, and she thought that was the funniest thing. I had this belt buckle in 7th grade that said Beefmaster, and I thought it was so funny, and I wore it all the time. And so that was my email, and I've just never gotten rid of it. So that's like usually the spam email. If I'm giving it to someone important, I won't use it. But
Beefmaster.
Yeah. So anyways.
You'll have to get that plaque somewhere.
I know, yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get out of my hometown. And so my son was like 2 at the time. We just started traveling. Mm-hmm. I think I told you I had my sister as kind of a live-in nanny with me, my younger sister. And so I took this job with the wind turbine company on their concrete crew, which was totally not even close to what my degree was in. I just wanted to get out of my hometown. And so I had a friend that hooked me up with that. And so I moved down south, and I was working with them for about a year in Texas, and then I moved to Oklahoma. And so I was living in Oklahoma at the time working on this wind turbine project. And my now husband was working on the same wind turbine project, but he was living in Kansas. Okay. And so I met him there. And that was, 9 years ago, I think, almost.
Instant connection?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. And I mean, we both didn't want anything major. And so it just formed into something major really quickly, though.
Didn't want anything major, so you decided to get married.
Yeah. And then, so he's from Montana.
From where?
Butte.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always tell him, and sorry for my Butte listeners, but I didn't know what a Butte boy was then at the time. So, but he's great, and so it was Montana or die for him. Okay. And I didn't care where I lived.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So after traveling for a couple of years everywhere, we ended up here in Helena.
And then how did you get involved with the chamber immediately?
No, not at all. So growing up in my hometown, being involved with the chamber was a huge thing. Mm-hmm. They really just had a lot of value, and they kind of facilitated everything in the community. And when I moved to Helena, I was working with a company that I had been working with, RJ Reynolds, in Colorado and Wyoming and Montana. And then I opened my own business, and with them, I was trying to get involved with it, but then I ended up closing my business, and took a position at a hotel here. And so I had told myself I need to get involved with the community more on the hospitality side and tourism side. And so I had slowly done that. And as I was doing that, some things happened. And then I landed the job at the chamber.
Sweet. And that was when?
Just recently. It was the end of May.
Okay. And what's your job title?
So member relations manager. So
awesome.
Here to be a resource to all the members. If you're looking to join, if you're not, just want to know what things are about. We have people that just like to sponsor events and stuff. And so I'm just really here as a resource for the members.
Okay, awesome. So we've talked about this briefly, but the Chamber of Commerce can be great. Or it can, it's like a gym, right? You're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely.
So for those people, let's start with the people that, let's start with the people that aren't members. What would be maybe some benefits to membership? So
I think the 2 biggest benefits to the membership are networking, one, which is really hard, I get, because it's one, hard to talk to people sometimes you don't know, and then 2, just to get to events to network, because if you're running your business, technically you probably don't have a lot of time anyways. Sure. So then to go out and do these extra things. And then 2, I would say promotion. Promoting things isn't easy, one, but it's also not cheap a lot of the times. And so the chamber can really offer a place where we can promote and we can work with you to network. And it isn't all on us. I think that's sometimes a misconception, is where when people do get a membership, they feel like it's all on the chamber to do all of the things for them. And, that's not how it works. It really is, like you said, a gym membership is kind of how we like to think of it as. If you don't go, if you don't use the equipment, nothing's ever going to change or happen. Not getting buff, yeah. So then part 2, for people that do have memberships, they're not using them, maybe it's a little outside their comfort zone. What are 1 or 2 things, easy things that they can do to get back, start getting involved, and start benefiting from their membership? Yeah, 1, just contact me, and I can try to, let you know what is worked around your schedule a little bit.
How would they do that? How
So you can just email me. You can call the chamber, but you can email me. It's Mulcahy@helenachamber.com. You can probably put that maybe in the...
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, because my last name's a little funky. And so just contact me, or again, just call the chamber, and I can help you look at events or look at resources that we have for you. And then I would just say the easiest way, though, to get started, whether you're a member or not, is attend an event. We have our business after hours. It's like the third Thursday of every month, I believe. We just had one yesterday. And that's
Who was that for?
So we had the one yesterday for Wild, Montana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw
it
that
was
on
pretty
Instagram.
neat. Yeah. And so those are just great places to go. There's a whole bunch of people with the same goal a lot of the time in one room. There's always food and drinks.
Heck
so that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So you can mingle by the food station if you don't want to talk to anyone. But that's just a good way to like just get exposure. It's once a month. It's 4 to 6. So
that's once a month, 4 to 6. Great. And are there other events? Let's say somebody works till 6. Are there other events, maybe at lunch or in mornings or weekends, where they would still be able to go and get involved?
Yeah. So in the mornings, we do a couple of times a month. There's chamber with the coffee with the chamber, and then there's like Coffee Connect, and so we have a couple of things in the morning that start at 7:00.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we do have ribbon cuttings. So our ribbon cuttings, they vary different times all the time. So, it's not something that might be set. A lot of the times it's at noon or 10 or 1. But you don't have to go to all of them. You can just go to one. And again, there's people there as well.
Yeah, we joined the chamber right when I opened up my business. And yeah, we had a ribbon cutting. And for me, moving here, it was pretty intimidating because I didn't know anybody moving to Helena. I didn't buy my business. I just started from scratch. So at least to like get a few friendly faces in for the ribbon cutting, and we invited some friends, and we had cupcakes.
Oh, nice.
And the mayor came, and it was nice for me to meet some people. And then I've seen them around town since then, and that way, when you go to a chamber event and you see somebody who you've at least met, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, I agree because it is hard to, for anyone for the most part. I know there are super charismatic people out there, and they can just go up and talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But not everyone's like that. So
not everyone's like that, but most people, especially if they're at a chamber event, they appreciate someone coming up to them.
Absolutely.
Even if you feel like you're going out of your comfort zone, it's usually going to be well received. It shouldn't be as scary as it kind of seems.
Absolutely.
And then do you have any events coming up that you guys are looking forward to?
So we have our 20 under 40 that's coming up. That is next week. And so I think the Helena Independent IR had released, the 20 under 40. So that's pretty neat. And then we'll have like our chamber award ceremony coming up. This will be my first year involved in that, but it's really just to recognize some of these businesses and members. And yeah, just a couple of, other things, but the main things that we always have coming up is like when new businesses open and we get to do those ribbon cuttings or groundbreakings for, businesses in our community that are like leveling up or growing. So those are pretty neat.
Yeah, that is neat. Back to the ribbon cuttings again. I also it seems like one of those things that if you go and you make the effort to go to someone's ribbon cutting, it's always really well appreciated. Absolutely. People like to have people in the photos and just to feel that support because they're putting themselves out there, trying to accomplish their dream a lot of times with starting their business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well received. It's so nice. Like when we go to ribbon cutting and, at first you just don't know who's going to show up, right? You just don't know. Yeah. And then you start seeing people come in. And so it's just for us, even with the chamber, for people to be there to represent and the company that we're there for. And then just, the companies, the owners, the managers, everyone appreciates it because they put a lot of stress and thought into it. Sometimes it might seem so small, but like the anxiety people get from it could be high. Yeah. It's,
we're all in this together. Helena's such a great place and there's a lot of support. And the more you put yourself out there, the more support you're going to receive too. Absolutely. That's what I like about Helena. It wasn't too big and it wasn't too small to settle. So it's a good community. Exactly. It's a perfect size. Yeah. That's what brought us here too. So good. Okay. So, and then if people wanted to find your podcast, what mediums is it on?
So right now it's on Spotify, YouTube, and then we use our RSS feed for the website. We're not on iTunes yet, but
Okay.
we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just AM Chamber Chats, which was a clever play because we release it in the morning, and my name's Amanda Mulcahy.
Okay.
And so it's AM.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, AM Chamber Chats, and then it's just a production of the Helena Area Chamber of Commerce. So.
And how often do you do an episode?
So we do our episodes. It's launched every other Tuesday.
Okay.
So this coming Tuesday, we have one that's launching. It's the start of our leadership series. And so just a way to get some development and self-development and, business development resources out there. Yeah.
Great. Any lessons that you have learned through either your time at your chamber, your own businesses, or your podcast that you'd like to share?
So I was looking at my Facebook feed today, and it like pops up those memories and stories. And I don't know when it was that I had said this or why I said this, but it popped up today, and I remember it being part of my graduation, like those things that kids get as seniors. What are those called? Announcements?
Announcements,
yeah. It was part of that, but it was I think MLK, and it was faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And so I had stuck true to that since I graduated college, and I moved away because you just have no idea where you'll end up. All the things I've done, I didn't ever, they weren't in my plans. Like I thought I was going to be in sports marketing somewhere in a bigger city, and here I am in Helena, Montana. So yeah, just whether it's like work or whether it's life, or no matter what the problem is or no matter what you're going through or want to go through, it's just like you have to really just kind of step out there. And so that holds true so much to whether it's networking for your business or growing a business or opening a business, or again, just things in your personal life, like going to the gym. You just have to really take those steps and then just let the staircase unfold.
I love that.
Yeah.
When I was doing that, I remember I'd hear quotes like that, and they would always just kill me because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I mean, I was really happy. I had 2 good businesses, but ultimately we wanted what we're doing now. And I remember telling myself, you know what? I would much rather take that first step and find out that I'm no good at what I thought I was and fail than just never do it and always wonder.
Yeah.
And you're betting on yourself, and you'll never know until you give it a shot.
No, you won't. And I always tell my husband, so he's in risk management and that type of work field. And so he's very like analytical and like strategic, and like doesn't like a high risk situation, especially when it comes to our finances. So I'm not that way at all.
Have you ever seen Along Came Polly?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. That's what it reminds me of. Yes. And I'm basically Polly or whatever. And so, I think it's Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny because like when I had opened my business, I was like, like this is what's on paper. It always looks good on paper, right? And you never know. And so he was like, this is going to be the worst, and this is horrible. And like, he's always my voice of reason though, because you need that to balance it out, right? And so I was like, if I don't do this, I'm just going to be like old and sitting on my rocker outside one day and just be regretting it my whole life. And I don't like that feeling or to think about that feeling. So I think it's great when people can it is risky and it might take a lot, and some people will fail, but to me it's worth it.
Yeah. Can you repeat that quote one more time?
The MLK quote. Do I remember it? Yes. Okay. Faith is taking the first step when you don't see the whole staircase.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's end with that. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Helena Hustle Podcast.